All right. So I just spent about an hour and a half in the shop doing some woodworking because I decided if I'm going to be doing like timer-based reactions and actually syncing everything up later manually, um, then I want to do it as well as I possibly can. And me sitting here clapping is kind of hard to sync with the audio track and stuff like that. I'm going to inevitably be just a little bit off, and I hate when audio track is a little bit off, or when two of the video tracks are a little bit off. I hate it. I hate it so much. So I built a fix. Built myself a little clapper board. Um, yeah. So that will let me sync up these tracks like perfectly, which is awesome. Um, Here, take a look. It's just a little small 2-inch door hinge, um, attached to two pieces of like melamine flooring or whatever it's for. I don't know. It's cheap, medium density fiberboard, so it's not even plywood. It's MDF. You can see there's no grain in it. It's wood fiber dust basically and glue, but makes good stuff. Sturdy and cheap and pretty useful. And then it's got a shiny white melamine coating on it. And so I just put some masking tape on there and spray painted it black. That way the lines all line up, so I can just clapify it, and then I know that the instant that the frame in the video where the black and white lines all line up, it is where that clap noise starts. So let's do that. All right. Oh, and then these blocks of wood are just screwed onto the back of this thing. I thought I might be able to find a hinge that was small enough to just link these together, but no. So I screwed some blocks of wood on there so that I had enough space to screw the hinge in. Got them all lined up and good to go. Alrighty, welcome everyone. I'm Teeaboo, and I'm here today for Baki the Grappler Episode 2. If you're watching the highlight, and you want to see the full reaction with the timer so that you can watch along on Netflix or wherever you have it, Patreon's the place. Alright, enough shill stuff. Let's get straight into Baki the Grappler Episode 2. Well, not straight in, because I want to talk about last episode. We set up Baki a little bit, just a little bit, not a lot. We set up these 5 badass villains with amazing power. Like, they're so strong. 2 of them got executed. Straight up got executed and survived. That doesn't happen. So they're crazy. We've got, let's see, we've got Dorian. We've got I don't know what the one in England was. I don't know if we know his name, but he had like red hair and he got electric chaired. We have got Sikorsky from Russia, and Speck, who seems really scary, and Yanagi Ryuko, the short guy who does stuff with poison gas and air pressure. All 5 of them have escaped from death row, and all 5 of them are heading to Tokyo to, quote, to no defeat, which is awesome. Everything about that first episode made me happy. It was badass, it was gory, it was brutal, it set up a bunch of villains. If you know me, then you know that villains are like, you gotta have good villains, and it seems like we're focusing on them right from the get-go, so that's awesome. The big question in my mind is, what's the catalyst? What's causing all of this? We got some interesting discussion from Tokugawa, the guy who manages the fighting rings, about a thing that he's calling synchronization or synchronicity, and apparently it's caused all of the glycerin in the world to crystallize, which is weird and near nonsensical, and it's caused these 5 guys to decide to break out. Because it seems that they all had the ability to get out of their various prisons at any time, and they were just waiting for the right moment or the right opponent. So, who are they going after? Because it doesn't seem to be Baki. It doesn't seem to be Baki. I don't know why I feel that, but like, he's just been chilling, and he's already the champion of the underground fighting pits. So who's the big bad? Who's the leader? Who's the Zahir to all of these villains? Who are they going to know defeat from? I don't know, but considering their power level is insane, he's gotta be mind-boggling. Just out of this world powerful. I don't know. I don't know. What will we get this episode? Maybe we'll get more build-up for Baki and more info on him, because we didn't get much of that last time. Maybe we'll get info on the big bad. I don't know. I don't know. But I can't wait to find out, and there is only one way to do so, and that's to push the play button. So, Baki the Grappler, Episode 2, 2018, Episode 2, will commence in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, start. I said it before, Netflix original doesn't necessarily mean good things. But this time, I think it means good things. Let me make sure we've got a subtrack on. Nope. Man, that guitarist can shred. I want to know. Grand Rodeo is the band, and they specialize in anime soundtracks. What have they done? Ah, Kuroko no Basuke? Not much else. Oh, Seven Deadly Sins. Okay. Back to Synchronicity. So, I don't care. Clearly dangerous. But he's Baki. Oh. Cool. So they are heading there for Baki. Thank you, Expositionawa. Is he just excited? Is he dead? Oh, there's redhead guy. Just cut him with a newspaper? You can't throw a newspaper. But he can. Amateur. Oh, you silly. Ooh. What? What? Is this the guy from England? He's not one of the 5, is he? Some dude with weighted chain thing? What? What is happening? So are these are all not members of the 5, I think. So Hulk cast. Holy shit. So I don't think these are all members of the 5. I think these are just randos who want to fight him. So this is gonna be Baki build-up. He's just gonna steamroll them. You brought a gun to a fist fight. What are you doing? What are you doing? Dummy brings gun to a fist fight. How good a bear is? Did he mean how good a blade is? Man, I gotta get better subs. Oh, he senses it. He feels it. He's like, ultra casual. Bakemono Baki? Baki Hanma? Eh. Just like, I don't want to kill you guys. Oh, please. Oh, that's skiggly diggly. Speck. Oh. Doyle was the one I didn't get the name of. Kind of surprised that Ryuko didn't show up first. Holy crap. Looks like it got hit by a meteor shower. Speck, fist a police car. Then showed up. I thought Speck would take longer. Maybe he'll get beaten by Speck and have to retrain. He's just gonna Oh. What? Crushing handshake? It's like a Kamehame kick. Yeah. Baki getting wrecked is what's happening. Unless this is no, he's just ah ah. So will going after innocence trigger Baki? Captured? Captured. Really? Oh, he's so big! Oh. Looks exactly like who? Okay, he's got the same hair color as Baki. Is that Jean Claude Van Dad? I'm getting like Cars vibes. Okay, with this music, Baki's father. So is he the cause of the synchronicity thing? Ah. I like this guy. He's got his his zen going. He was doing calligraphy. Now he's drinking tea. Damn. He's got a what is that? It's like a punch shank. 'Baki's father said they would never ever understand. Three times. Yes. He's dead. Just gonna go back to his cell and just lay down. Yo, you'd best feed him. Oh shit, he killed the clerk. Yeah, you'd best feed Speck. Oh, he's got the bone sticking out and Is that the cop who was saying he was gonna train? So random weaklings fighting. Okay, subs will be better next time. I'll find better subs, I promise. Oh, I guess he's not technically a weakling. But he's an old enemy of Baki's, so he's been surpassed. The CG is almost distracting. It's just so hard to do CG people right. And when the rest of the show isn't the same, it doesn't have the same feel to it, it feels a little wrong. It's still cool, but it just feels a little bit off. Like, Ruby can get away with it because it's all generated. But this, it's trying to blend it, and when you're doing people doing complex movements, it's hard. Huh. Huh. Interesting. This is Dorian. There are a lot of Koreans on the cast or in the credits. I can't tell what their roles are, but there are a lot of Korean names on there. You know, you don't get like Hyoyun in Japanese names. I wonder. I guess that's becoming standard practice to have the Japanese studio make all the keyframes and then send off their work to Korean studio for processing and coloring and all that jazz. Who dat? She looked like she's fit, like not in the British sense, but like fit. I mean, probably in the British sense too. Hey, pops. All right, that should be it. Alright, is there an after scene? Okay, just a Fletnix. Neato. Whew. Okay. So we start off in the same conversation between Tokugawa and Baki, as before, but we basically get more exposition from Tokugawa, and it kind of recaps what happened last episode, which is kind of a clever way of doing it. I don't mind that. Don't mind that at all. They kept it short, and you need exposition, so that's fine. We learned some things about each of our villains. So before we saw them just jailbreak, and now we're seeing their personalities and a little bit of who they are and how they fight. So the first one we see is the redhead guy, and his name we found out later is Doyle, I believe. I'm gonna call him Doyle until proven otherwise. So we meet him, and he has razors embedded like everywhere in his clothing. I don't know how that works or why you would do that, but it's pretty scary. Like, they showed the razors were on the inside of his collar, so how does he not get cut by them? Is he just impervious? Like, super skin? I don't know. It's pretty cool and weird and unexplained, but it's pretty cool, so rule of cool applies. Ba-bam. And then we go from him to this sort of rundown of random people who I assume are from Baki's city, and they just want to challenge Baki. And of course they're nobodies. He plays with them, basically. He hulks his cast. I loved that. I thought that was great. Yeah, I thought that was great. The dumb dude who tried to fight him in the first episode and then just got scared enough that he didn't fight him brings a gun to a fist fight, which at this point we know is not a good idea. And then Speck shows us why. He shoots himself in the cheek, which, I mean, okay, it wouldn't kill anyone, but it would hurt and suck, and like, why? Because he's a crazy motherfucker, I guess. He's just out of it. He's nuts. He loves violence and murder and death and stuff. Oh, he also fist fought a police car, and the police car didn't stand a chance. Not even a chance. No dice. No shot. He pulls a Kira and like handshakes with a dead person's hand. Probably they said the police officer, so probably the police officer in the car. Which is, again, like, what? What are you doing? Why are you doing that? Please don't do that. That's not nice. That's weird. And I kind of like the way they stylized his moves. His kicks kind of turn into like standard classic anime laser beam things, like a Kamehameha kick is sort of how I'm imagining it. I think that it's to imply that his kicks are so fast they become so blurred and invisible that they just look like a flash of light, which is pretty cool. But using those laser kick things, he just wrecks Baki. Just wrecks him. But he doesn't kill him or even injure him permanently. And he says this is just an introduction and a greeting. So, lucky for Baki, he now knows what he's up against. He's up against power far beyond himself, and he'll have time to prepare, I think, / hope. Gives him another handshake, and then pulls a dick move and kicks him in the face again, just for fun. And then Baki says he looks exactly like him. Like him. Like emphasis on the him. And then we cut to Jean Claude Van Dad, who is apparently the strongest creature in history, period. Like, period. And he's a beast. He's just hanging out in his room doing a full split. In the air. He kicks the end off a cigarette while doing a flip. And apparently he has the power to destroy an entire army with his fists. So he's scary. I feel like he's not even a big bad. I feel like he's just gonna be there. He's just gonna be like around. Because I don't know how Baki could deal with that. Like, is the overarching story Baki eventually surpassing his father? Because strongest creature in history might be tough. Might be really tough. Might be impossible. How strong is Baki compared to his father? Like, is a punch from Baki equivalent to a pinky flick from his father? Is it equivalent to an index finger flick from his father? Like, how strong is Baki compared to Daddy-O? Because I think Daddy-O is like top of the spectrum, the unachievable, basically demigod status. I got Cars flashbacks, like Cars the ultimate being. Um I feel like he's insurmountable. So if Dad is here and a normal human is like here, then where's Baki and the rest of the crew, the bad guys? Because it seems like Speck and the rest of the bad guys are definitely under Dad, but above wherever Baki is. So is he just like smack dab in the middle? Way stronger than normal people and even those who've dedicated their lives to martial arts, but currently less strong or less experienced at least than the five bads. And then there's like the distance between Baki and the bads is the same as the distance between the bads and his father, or is the distance between the bads and his father so huge? Is the margin just immense? I don't know. I don't know. I'd like to find out because I like well done OP characters. You know, like OP, really overpowered characters. And Jean Claude Van Dad, I'm gonna keep calling him that because it's perfect. Jean Claude Van Dad is so far a pretty cool OP character. He's had only one line, and it was like, "You would never understand something something, blah blah blah." Okay, okay. Then we go over to Ryuka. What's his first name? The short Japanese guy. Yanagi. Yanagi Ryuka. And he's got his Zen going. He seems pretty chill. I really like him. I really like him so far. So far, he's the one of the bads that I think I like the most. Because he's got this sort of calm warrior vibe to him. Obviously, he's not a good person, and he's probably not all that calm. Or no, I'll take that back. He's probably not all that peaceful. let's say he's not very peaceful. He's very calm. So he meets this old friend opponent person, this old frenemy. I don't know if they trained together or what, but apparently they fought in the past, and Ryuka definitely won. And there was this awesome line. He's like, "Do you still want to fight me, Ryuka?" And he says, "If you want to fight, stop talking. Just fight." Like this. And then he throws the tea at him and holds a like cool, super thin punch shank to his face. Like, I got you. Got you. So, more setup with baddies steamrolling people who can't hold a candle to them. And then we get some more Speck stuff. just casually makes a jail cell his base. He's not fed enough, so he busts through the wall silently, I might add, because the police officer said we didn't hear anything, and it's implied that they're on guard. So he silently busts through a concrete wall, goes to a nearby convenience store, takes some food, and kills the cashier brutally. Bones sticking out everywhere, just mangled. Ugh. And goes back. Takes a piss like a racehorse, overflowing the urinal, and at least scares the crap out of the police chief, who has been set up a little bit as a true monster. Ha ha ha. Ha ha. If only they knew. I can't tell if he, like, did he murder the police chief? Probably not, because if he did, then they would probably do something with him, or try. But, I don't know. And then he just heads back to his cell. He's like, "I'm not going anywhere. I've got a fight, and y'all are gonna feed and house me for until that fight happens. So get used to it. I will come and go as I please. You can't do that. Please, please. Yes, he can. He's Speck. He can do what he wants." Oh my goodness. And then we get this scene with these characters who I assume have previous setups. So if I'd watched the old Bachler Grappy, I came very close to saying it. Grappler Baki, I would have possibly known these guys. It seems like it's like Dragon Ball and Z, you know? There are a bunch of characters that appear in Z that you would know from Dragon Ball. From they're weak, but you would know them from being past opponents, like Mr. Satan. We get these two guys who seem to be people we should know, fighting it out for. I thought at first it was a challenge for control of a dojo, but it doesn't seem to be. It seems to be that the one guy invited the other guy to their dojo so that he could be beaten by him, so that he and his students could learn from him. And then Dorian walks in. So I have to imagine that while we've set up those two guys as being relatively strong, Dorian's here to bust some skulls. He doesn't seem quite as brutal as some of the others, specifically Speck, but he did hang everybody involved in his execution by the same rope in a row. So that could get bloody. That could get really bloody. But hopefully it'll be awesome. The one nitpick that I had about this episode was during the fight scene between the two, like, normal karate people, or karate, and there was another martial art, a Chinese martial art that's apparently the inspiration for karate. I don't know nothing. I don't know nothing. The fight between them was just a little bit off. Just a little bit off. The CG was a bit noticeable, and that's fine. It's hard to do CG well, especially if you're not going all out with it. But I also feel like this was a minor fight, and so maybe the quality will improve when the stakes are real and it's Baki and uh the baddies. Maybe? I hope so, because in that fight they felt kind of weightless. Actually, I want to scroll back to it. Scroll back over to it, and I want to rewatch that fight really quick. Shouldn't be too hard. Find, okay. Got it here. Just turn the volume down. I just want to watch the visuals. Okay, so this is the setup. So we are already in 3D now. And part of the oddness of it is that they start off in 2D, right? Like those are 2D. 2D, all drawn, drawn, and then here, right there. All right, so now they're 3D, they're CG models as we pan out with the CG camera, right? And it's I assume it's an entirely 3D space, but the students in the back, they look like they're drawn. But these two, the lighting on them is a dead giveaway, and they're just... So that's 2D. That could be either, but I think that's 3D. Yep. Yeah. And they're using that program that animeifies. It's the same program that I think Ruby uses. 2D, 2D. I think the problem is that they kept switching. And then that's 3D. Okay. Now let's go playback slower so that we can watch this through. Nice and slow. Yep, and they've got this blur effect on there and the lines, but it's not good enough. These CG models look kind of, and oh, who's the guy with the mace in Ruby? The jerk. He's not a good guy. Carmen? San Diego? Carden. Right? Yeah, Carden Winchester. There's a scene where he fights... I think it's a scene where he fights Pyrrha, and it reminds me of this, especially the guy on the right in the white gi's face. Really reminds me of Carden. Okay, that's 2D. Although his hair may have been 3D. This is all 3D, and it's just it's like the expressionless faces, or the non-changing expressions on the faces. I guess it's so slow-mo that it's fine. I guess this isn't 2D. I can't tell for this one shot. That shot bugs me a bit. Right there. and then they feel weightless, which is a classic 3D thing. But what he just did, like, you saw what he just did? I want to slow that down even further. Okay. So we're almost frame by frame now. So he sweeps the leg. Now, what happens when your leg is swept out from under you? Like, it's pretty easy to imagine. I'll be right back. I've got something that would be useful for this. Okay. Can I unscrew this? Oh, sweet, I can. That's awesome. So I can take this off the stand, and that makes this even better. So, he's like this. About. Right? And he's falling backward toward us. Here, let me do it here. Backward toward us, right? And floor. We need a floor. Oh, you still can't see that. Okay. Okay, you can see that as the floor. All right. So that's a pretty good simulation of the angle that we're at, right? We're like so. So he was standing like so, right? Standing like so. And I'll move this over so that you can see. Standing like so, and gets his legs swept out from under him this way, right? And his legs bend, and his arms go up a bit. Okay, cool. That's all fine for now. If you're off balance and you are rotating, right? You've been swept this way, and you're rotating this way. You'll just rotate that way, right? Your center of gravity doesn't change as long as there's rotational momentum, right? You rotate and then you fall. Okay, but what happens in the video? We'll see it in just a sec, but his leg is swept out from under him. He rotates like this. He kicks up, and then he gains momentum and goes higher. That doesn't happen. If you kick up, that just adds to your rotational momentum and you hit your head, right? Unless you jump and you've got vertical momentum as well. But he doesn't have any vertical momentum. He was standing. And then he had his legs swept out horizontally. All he's got is rotational momentum, so it should just rotate straight around his center of gravity and bonk on the head. Or if he could fall on his back and kip up or something, right? Or any number of things. But instead, okay, there he goes. He's going flying. He's already moving up, which doesn't make sense. Okay. Oh. Now he's here. Now he kicks up, and his center of gravity, you just look at his belt, goes up. Nope. See that weightless sort of 0G floating? I don't like it. He lands on his hands, does some breakdance moves. Flying leaping punch? Okay. Okay. catches him with the hair. He's flying. Wrecked. $3D. That was another that was weightless, but it wasn't quite as egregious. And bong. So is that the end of the fight? I believe that's the end of the fight. Yep, okay. Then we go back to traditional animation. So, they're really, that is the only thing in this episode that I found at all annoying, and it's really more minor than I'm making it out to be. I spent a bunch of time just talking about it because that kick thing kind of bugged me. Because that's not how a human body in the air would operate. It just kind of bugged me. Like, you in the air, you can't do anything to get more vertical height by kicking along, like, around an axis, especially if you're already rotating around that axis. You just if he had just kicked and just spun and landed on his hands, I would have a lot less problem with it. But he kicked and went up. After he'd already reached what looked like the apex of how high he could go. Little nitpick. The rest of the fight feels a bit weightless. The shift between CG and traditional is a little bit jarring, but it's okay. It's okay. It's not bad. It's not awful. It's just slightly annoying, and it makes me hope that they improve a bit. But anyway, these two guys are in trouble because Dorian has arrived, and I believe he's challenged the guy with the braid. So the stronger of the two. So I guess this fight was to set him up, because he just defeated the founder of a karate school with ease, it seems. So this is set up for him, and he will probably be used in turn to set up Dorian, because I feel like he's gonna get crushed and get steamrolled. But I don't know. I still really enjoyed this episode. I dislike Speck, but I like him as a character. I like his presence. Do you know what I mean? You know what I mean? The fact that I have a visceral kind of dislike for him is a good thing. It means that they're doing their job, because that's clearly intended and it works. We haven't gotten much on Dorian yet, and we've only gotten flashes of redhead Doyle guy so far. I feel like Dorian could make a run for my favorite baddie, besides Jean Claude Van Dad. I feel like Dorian could make a run for it, depending on his personality and who he is, and how next episode, which I assume is going to be, we're going to get more of him in it. He could make a run for my favorite baddie, but currently my favorite baddie slot is being occupied by Ryuga. Or Ryuka. Yeah, Ryuka. Just because I kind of like the vibe he gives off, and he's really powerful. He's really strong. I wonder what the order of the fights will end up being, because I don't think, although Speck has introduced himself first, I don't feel like Speck's going to be the first fight. I feel like he's going to hang out and enjoy himself a bit more, and I feel like he's an important character for the feel of the show, to have somebody so brutal and awful. I guess they could make two decisions with it. They could be like, okay, he's so brutal and awful, we got to get rid of him soon, and have Baki fight him first, make him the first obstacle. Or he's so brutal and awful, he's perfect for the show, we need him in here, let's have him hang out and watch some of the other fights or something like that, and have him be fought third or fourth, second, I don't know, somewhere in there, but not first. I don't know, it could go either way. But they are all looking for Baki. So my idea that it wasn't Baki causing this, and when they introduced Jean Claude Van Dad, I was like, he's the catalyst. No, it's Baki. He's gotten strong enough that he's attracting attention through the ether. Cool. Cool. Awesome. Anyway, I have been Teeaboo. This has been Baki the Grappler, episode 2 from 2018. I hope you've enjoyed it as much as I have. If you're watching the highlights, then the full length will be on Patreon. Alright. I've been Teeaboo. This has been Baki the Grappler 2018, episode 2. I hope you've enjoyed it as much as I have. And I hope to catch you in the next one. Peace.